This is not everybody's chance to message me and say, I want to get on the pod
Hey guys,
too. I have so much to share. I don't want to hear it. Okay?
No.
This person, we have exchanged DMs. This person said, excuse me, I love that you're doing Iland. It's my favorite show. And I said, oh, that's wonderful. Again, not cause for, whatever. But then he was like, oh, and also I used to run an Iland podcast while the show was on.
Yeah.
And at that point I was like,
well,
we got to get the girls on. We got to talk about it. And the only voices we need to be hearing more of in the K-pop space are obviously white gay men. So, welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome,
Nate.
I even
to
have the Slay
pod.
fan.
Oh,
Yes.
So, I'm ready.
When did you get into K-pop, the genre?
I would say 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say right around when the American Music Awards had BTS on. Iconic, right?
Yeah,
And it was right around then. I remember I bought my first BTS album in like August of 2018 at this like independent music store called Music Millennium here in Portland. I didn't think that they were going to offer, like anybody was going to offer in-person albums for K-pop, but Music Millennium had plenty of Love Yourself.
Is it like a FYE? Like it's like a...
But even more independent. Like Music Millennium is like a staple in Portland. And so they have vinyl, they have cassettes, they have CDs.
If you had a whole podcast dedicated to Iland, I'm assuming you're not just one of these army who are like, BTS is not even K-pop. It's its own thing. And they don't... Yeah, we're a multi.
I'm a multi. I do believe that BTS paved the way for certain.
Oh, for sure.
For certain things. That's a whole different discourse. But and I would love to talk about some other time. But I think that for me, K-pop was a really quick way to get out of the pandemic and into a brighter space. And I think a lot of people agreed. And Iland was the first survival shows, first making of the band kind of show during the pandemic. So it was a quick sell for me. I stan a lot of hype groups, BTS, TXT, and enhypen. Boy Next Door is my current obsession. And I'm mostly a boy group stan.
You're so unique.
Yeah.
I was just talking to someone who also likes K-pop, and I was asking them who they like, and they were like, boy groups just all sound the same. And I was like, actually, they're really different. Actually,
if you just paid attention, the choreography.
I was so upset about it. I was like, okay, well,
have a nice
fuck off. Okay, well, this is exciting. So your Iland podcast, it was on during the show. What was it called?
It was called I Got Pushed, an enhypen podcast. Actually, in the early days, it was I Got Pushed, an Iland podcast. Then we switched to enhypen after the boys debuted. Like, it was a really difficult journey to learn how to become an audio engineer overnight. I had some experience because my background is in theater, but like using a laptop to create sound files was a lot more difficult than mixing live in the theater. So we would meet up all the time just to chat Iland. It was our favorite thing to do. It was going.
I couldn't imagine if I was watching and was into Iland when it was
I can't even imagine waiting week to week for this
I would not be able to wait week to week, and I would be like crazed. I think I would be like fully
literally
insane.
Feral in all of the wrong ways.
Yeah.
Like mad, angry. It was just every week having to wait. And the way that mnet edits their shows, they're all the same.
Yes.
Major cliffhanger, something super emotional, and then the teaser at the end of the episodes. Bad call.
Yeah. Like someone's about to perform, and then all of a sudden you see a clip of Jay being like, we gotta work together. I'm like, when the fuck did this
blurry face, avoiding the face, playing the audio.
To show who it is.
Yep. And you're like, oh my God, whose voice was that? Whose face? Who had ears like that? Who's wearing the earring this week? Right. It becomes really true crime really fast.
Yeah, I'll never forgive Mnet for the one teaser where Hanbin was like crying in the stairwell,
and
then we just
until
who knows
when Jiwoon was crying.
Jiwoon cried. Who knows?
So much
We'll
Boys
never
Planet
know.
clip footage was left on the editing room floor. Where?
Truly.
We'll never see the Hanbin Haruto dance battle ever.
That's
Ever.
never. I'm never gonna forgive them.
Well, I'm so excited to talk about Iland with you. And when I reached out and I was like, listen, we got to have an expert on the show.
What episode?
What episode is good? And he literally was like, you don't know this, but Nate literally was like, let me go back through my notes and see which ones I had a lot of notes.
I have
on.
a lot of old notes. A lot.
I love that. That's very stage manager.
It's giving teacher. It's giving stage manager. Absolutely.
That show needs notes. There's too much going on.
This is probably the most notes you've written.
This is the most notes I've written.
Like out of all the shows.
That's amazing. I love that. We had a Google Doc that we would run, and Crystal would add her notes. I would add mine.
We started the show when we had like announced it, and I was like, I mean, like it's weird because like we already know the outcome of the show. Like, how exciting is the show going to be?
You found out quick.
Wild
Trauma.
I understand why people have very strong
feelings,
about the show.
whether I love it or I hate it. Like truly, there are people in the comments saying in Twitter that have said like, I hated this. I would prefer to watch Fantasy Boys over this. I think this is the worst survival.
That sounds awful. I could not finish Fantasy Boys even after watching your guys' podcast. I literally stopped watching and just started watching your podcast instead. Because honestly, I couldn't stand it.
I think if you're a person who likes regular survival shows, this is probably not the show for you.
No.
Because this is so different.
Yeah.
If you're a person who likes
American
reality television.
Every week we talked about how many similarities there were between Big Brother. Actually, I think we had a whole episode of me breaking down the parallels between production at Big Brother and production at Iland based on the information that we had, but also the fact that like it was a little bit Hunger Gamesy, like cornucopia, run for your dreams. That was like the whole,
and the episode 3 that we just recorded, we spent a lot of time of just like what they deem as important, and all of a sudden it's become the rules that dictate the whole thing. Like the whole thing, even though they have not been told any of these rules. That's just rules
and we weren't told either as the audience. It was like
it's just what they came up with.
We literally were we came up with the idea that they have just like created a caste system for themselves.
It's exactly that.
Crazy to watch in real time.
And you'll see it, especially with the older members too, over time. You'll see them start to get very cliquish. You'll see heesung, Seon. It's very much like Regina George. And
which is funny because in episode 3, our beloved Ichan and Sunoo called that out, of just like it feels like there's a click.
Yeah, Sunoo, and I didn't realize it until after Iland finished and I rewatched for the first time how much Sunoo was on point with all of his reads, got everything right, and I felt so bad that I ever
kind of like
not
doubted,
disliked
like,
him, but like didn't have his back 100%.
Yeah.
There's so many things on the pod. If you listen back, don't please. But if you do listen back, I apologize for everything that I ever said about Sunoo.
Oh
no! This is how I feel about Gyuvin.
This is how we felt about Gyuvin. Because in Voice Planet, we're like, man, we just don't get it.
I don't get it.
And then we're like, no one's gonna be funny in this group. Blah blah blah. And now it's like Gyuvin.
And now when people are like, I don't get it, I'm like, you're actually stupid.
Gyuvin is currently the main source of like their shenanigans.
Yeah,
and it's the best.
I apologize profusely to Sunoo over and over again. No, when I was at the concert in Anaheim last year, like the entire group of engine were all clapping so loud and cheering so
You watched
loud.
Anaheim?
Yeah. I was talking to Adam about I know. That was anyway, wasn't it magical, you guys?
That's crazy. Oh,
when Sunoo,
the Sunoo eruption, like everyone screaming.
Then they wouldn't stop.
And they wouldn't stop.
You could tell the other members were surprised.
Full on
I was like, Give this bitch her flowers,
Yes.
honey.
Yes.
Oh,
Full on beefing. It was such
Yeah.
a like cathartic release for me as somebody who was like
Someone who.
not 100% on board with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
lowest individual score was 62, and the highest individual score was 88.
Yep. I remember like so well.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So obviously it was a better performance. I agree also that I think Fire was a better performance than the Signal song.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Although I have a special place in my heart for Into the Island. They had a lot of original music in this show. And then Bung PD, P-Dog, they all wrote original music for this show because it was going to be a big hybe blowout. It was like their first like show out for
Yeah.
survival programs. So
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't even hype yet. It was still big hit.
Exactly.
Big
It
hit
was still
entertainment.
big hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the overall average team score was 78.
Yeah.
So they still have to lose three people.
Four.
4 people.
Yeah.
They're losing 4.
Oh God.
So this is
This
also
is-
what's
yeah.
exciting is that every time they kind of change how they're doing it.
Yes.
So to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, by the way, because they have to reveal who the top
Person is.
Person
they
is
get
because
immunity.
they get immunity.
Of course.
So they show the top 6.
Yes.
They're 12. They show the top 6. Okay. So 70 with 70 points is EJ.
Yes.
Slay.
Like
71 is my absolute child Sunoo.
Yeah.
75 is Taki. And everyone like has a reaction. They're like, oh.
like
Yeah.
ooh, the young kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
80 is Sunghoon.
Mhm.
83 is Heesung. And 88 highest score is K.
I want to know what
Against
you guys
Unity.
think about the top score going to K.
Oh, I totally agreed. I remember seeing there was a little bit more of a bite to K's performance than Heesung. I mean, I think it's because like it's a big part. Like Center is a big part, and I think Heesung was just trying to make sure that everything was going perfectly, as opposed to I felt
Which is
K
so he's
kind of lived in a
It's
little
so
bit.
he
more.
gives a lot of
Awesome.
Virgo energy. I don't remember if he's a Virgo or not, but it gives Virgo.
I think I
Beyonce.
probably would have said Heesung was my favorite in it. He's just so polished. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, he's they
He's the ace.
they talked about
Yeah.
it all the time on the show. He was the ace. I think for K, I think he served, and that's great. But I agreed that Heesung did the best out of the Islanders that time. It was a race between K and Heesung to the top. And I think that it was this idea that like, oh, they're both really great at dancing. They both have superior voices, and let's see who gets to the top first. And I think that Heesung had a big setback with episode 2, with the leadership debacle,
Yep.
with the position 1, and like, is he the leader or is he just position 1? And then them swapping for Niki, and that didn't work to their advantage. And I think Heesung took a lot of heat for that from the fans that maybe weren't like his stands.
This is why I'm so
So
excited to talk
wild.
about you with you, because you will be able to
Give us the context of the time.
anthropologize for us
Yes.
and let us know what was going on.
Being
in
an
real
Eggie was a
time.
different vibe.
This fucking egg. I cannot believe you guys called yourselves eggies.
We
That's
called
so
ourselves Eggie
funny.
for so long, and then we had a huge like Eggie coming out party when they like announced Engine as the
I will say with K, it was just nice to see someone else. By episode 4, it was nice to see someone else being regarded as like unmatched
Yeah.
in skill.
Yeah.
Because I would say it was pretty heavy Heesung Niki.
Well, yeah, and Niki was not as popular at the beginning of the show. Niki was when Niki was swapped for Heesung, a lot of the discourse on Twitter and stuff like that was, why did they choose one of the youngest? Like, this is dumb. Like, this kid hasn't, earned his stripes. Like, why are they putting him in position 1?
But it's so crazy because they decided
I know.
among themselves.
And
so
they are everyone on the show is obsessed with
obsessed with
Nikki.
Niki.
Yes.
Like
They
they're
are
like, he is the
best dancer we have in this
show.
competition.
Right. They hadn't shown enough of him though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that we
So
saw
like
was
the
like,
That's true.
edit wise,
Yeah.
like I can see where the audience was like,
that's
okay.
there's no correlation. Like, he learns choreography fast, but like Is he a great dancer?
Yeah.
All I've seen was the Iland performance.
So this does mean because they're dropping people that the grounders get to perform,
Yeah.
which is very exciting. And do you think? Because I know RJ thinks.
I already know what the question is.
Whose performance was better, Iland or Ground?
Ground, hands down. The reason why is because they were much more synchronized. They were on point, and they were fighting for something. Islanders, they didn't realize that they were not only fighting to stay in Iland, but against people in Ground. And so I don't think there was not as much of a fire underneath them to keep them going. And as you can kind of tell by watching the first few episodes so far, you get a lot of people who are worried about their own personal score. They're like, how am I doing? They're not focusing on the group. And so
Heesung?
I'm not saying anything. I wasn't a Heesung fan at the beginning of the show. I also wasn't a Jay bias at that time either. I was kind of against Jay, but then very quickly fell in love with Jay.
Was Jay your bias? So Jay became a bias in Iland?
Jay became my bias in Iland. And I think that it was...
At this time, who was your bias?
At this time, it was Jake.
Interesting.
Jake was my bias because I'm a sucker for an underdog story.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And so I instantly connected with Jake. I was like, he's cute. He's got charisma. He's Australian. It's very interesting. And he hasn't trained for very long. So, of course, I want to root for him. But and after I saw the TXT performance, I was like, okay, Honey can do it. But when I saw Jay struggle so much, especially in episode 2, where he kept trying and trying and trying again and keep getting shot down because of that whole good boys club mentality, right? It wasn't even because he wasn't good, it's because he wasn't part of the group yet. It really stuck with me. And I felt so awful for him because, like, as performers, we've all been there. We've all gone through the auditioning and been told, no thanks, no thanks. So I really felt for Jay. And by this episode, seeing his leadership in Ground was really what solidified me as like a Jay fan.
But I also can see why he like left the show and was like, I do not want to be the leader of this fucking group.
Yep, exactly.
It is a different experience to be like, I'm fighting. I am trying. I have an actual external thing that I'm like trying to beat, as opposed to Iland, who currently does not, because they don't see Ground as a thing that they need to worry about. They have it. It's an internal, like, I need to be better than I was the last time I performed.
And at this point, there's already been a group that's been knocked down to Ground and had the opportunity to go back up. So they have that kind of drive. And the other thing is that in Iland, they're fighting against the production aspect of it, where it's like, we're not just playing a game where like I'm trying to improve my performance ability, but I'm also trying to play internal politics with everybody in Iland.
I'm trying to be
friends in Iland, because like we talked about, there were no producer votes until almost the second half. I mean, producers did have input by giving scores, but the producers weren't like, okay, we're voting out this person, this person, this person. The only shifting that they had a hand in was moving Ground up.
When they showed the top 6 from Iland, I was like, oh, well then you just are going to vote for everybody who's not on this list. Isn't that funny? So during the deliberation, this is famously what I refer to as the All-Stars, let me come sit with me.
Yeah.
So there are 2 moments that I want to call out. So Son decides to out of nowhere play the Sunbae card and be like, well, since I've been
a trainee for so long,
I've been doing this
like
just for so much longer than everybody else. And everyone, they were like, oh. And you know what? Good for her, because I would do the exact fucking thing.
Exactly.
I would use every tool in my belt.
Absolutely.
And if I'm in a society where like just age is so much more respected, and like length of time that you've been doing a thing.
Pull it out.
I'm using it to my advantage,
Use it.
sweetie.
Yes, 150%.
And we've said it that Son is like the only one, like he sees the game. He knows there is a game happening, and we haven't really seen a lot of his performance.
Yeah, but 4 years in K-pop, 4 years in K-pop, he's been training 4 years.
Yeah,
of course, he knows the politics.
Absolutely.
But
Started in 2016.
I don't know if
Crazy.
honestly, I don't know if anybody really likes Seon at the beginning of the show.
They just don't get a sense of him.
Yeah.
The only time you hear from him is when he's doing these things. And
Exactly.
you're like,
When he's doing like DR and like, you know, being like, oh, well, you know, I'm working it out with the girlies backstage.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I mean, do your
whatever, girl. Do your show.
You're right.
But then there is another moment that happens in the celebration process where Kay is with Taki, and Kay is like, because he knows he has the immunity.
Yeah.
He was like, if you end up in the bottom, don't you worry, girly pop.
I'm so sorry. It's
Just
like
snuck. Oh, there we go.
it's pulling up so much.
And the
trauma.
minute this happened, RJ was like, Taki's gonna go. And I was like, I mean, just knowing how narratives are structured on
Yes.
reality shows, I was like, you do not include that if it does not come
If it
back
does not
to
come back
bite
after.
Good
Kay
writing.
Yeah.
right in the ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can't write this shit. That's what's crazy.
Yeah. The kids are choosing.
The kids are doing it on their own.
The kids are their own self-fulfilling prophecy. And then they had that little stupid hug in the bedroom, which
Yes.
was
I
know,
so
I know.
emotional.
It's so
He's like
emotional.
lifting
And they
them
are-
up, and
I'm obsessed
I'm
with the
obsessed
two
with
of
Kay
them.
and Taki.
Me too.
Yeah.
Still
Oh,
am.
it's,
And
their dynamic is so genuine and sweet.
it's still
Oh.
It's so funny. I showed Adam like a recent N Team clip, and he was like, "Who the fuck is that?" And I was like, "Girl, that's Taki. He's as tall as all of them.
a grown woman now, you know,
He's a grown woman."
full bob and everything. I tell you.
So here are the four that they decide to get rid of.
Crazy.
I can't even reliving it makes me really sad. Oh my gosh.
So here are the four. With 11 votes, everybody voted for him.
Yeah.
It's going to be someone who has no narrative.
Right.
Yeah,
And I'm not
absolutely.
going to spoil anything, but Yoonwon will come back to talk. Well,
I will say he looks really good in this fire outfit. The entire time I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, he looks so cute. This is a good look."
I really enjoyed his presence on the show.
Next is Taeyong with 10 votes. Now, you don't know this because this episode has not come out yet, but in last week's episode, I predicted that Taeyong was going to be chosen to stay in the group because they gave him that whole narrative being like, he's the base, he's really like, he's being stepped on, like they're going to be really
he's
happy
working
that
so
he did all that.
hard.
Next with 8 votes was Sunoo, who I would like to just point out was in the top 6.
Yes, top 6.
Top 5, actually, in fact.
Politics.
Homophobia is a disease.
Straight guys are so afraid of gay guys,
Straight guys.
especially in situations where gay guys are succeeding.
He already had a feeling. He was like, "I know I'm gonna go." And when his face went up there, girl, not even face crack, because she was just like,
Knew it.
Okay, so the last person that gets picked is Jungwon, which
Which
I was blown.
we were all blown away,
They
but I was
all
like,
were.
"It's gonna be
Everybody.
Sun."
We
Yeah.
all were. Oh my
Girl,
God.
enough people voted for him, and one
And
of
I
them was
think-
Sunoo.
and I
And
think-
Sunoo was like, "You know what? He did okay in his part, but he was fine."
Whatever.
And I'm curious. So everyone was gagged by this at the time because I was like, "Oh, am I gagged just because I know,
I know
that Jungwon is like
it's Jungwon.
No.
it's Jungwon?"
We were all
Okay.
gagged, honestly. And you can tell by the people in Iland, too, that they were gagged as well, which
Oh.
is ironic because they're the ones doing the voting. Like, but you can tell that all of the girlies that were really gagged were the ones who were in the IT group.
That's
Oh, yeah,
the only
'cause we
one we
see
can
that one.
confirm that voted for Jungwon.
I hope that Jungwon has forgiven Sunoo, but yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot that Sunoo also needs to forgive the other members of this fucking group for.
There was a
so-
lot, and
There's a lot of apologizing that needs to be done in Sunoo's direction.
all of the things that are I truly believe this, all the things that are currently wrong with Engine stem from Iland. All of it.
It still comes from like
All
just
of
how,
it.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. Whenever you find a toxic engine or this really awful discourse about like one member, solo culture was so coddled during Iland,
Oh no.
and it never got crushed.
Because the first fan vote, how many people did you vote for? Okay.
I don't think
still
fan
not
votes were counted until the second part of Iland. It was all run by
It was all
actors.
them
It was all
Yes.
just watching. Yeah.
deciding their own fate.
And it was so unique at the time. Nobody had ever done a survival show like this. Nobody had said, what do the idols think?
right.
Now we know what they think.
I don't think it's an inherently bad idea.
No, it was
Because
great.
It's
Wonderful
it's
television.
It's the same idea of like you're gonna start your garage band with your friends from high school. Like you pick the people you're friends with to
Right.
start your band with.
Yeah.
You're not gonna pick like Lucy from down the street just because she has a great voice. Like
Right.
you're gonna pick the people you like.
And
to
you
be
guys
around.
mentioned Lord of the Flies. It was very
Oh my
Lord
god!
of the
it's-
Flies.
So Kay, so then they were like, okay, Kay, who are you gonna save, girly? Are you gonna choose to not save anybody? Are you gonna who's it gonna be? And RJ at this point has stopped watching the TV and is just watching me for my reaction because he
Of
he
course.
like
I
knows.
I was like, he's gonna pick Jungwon because it's the
It
big
was
gag.
it was the goop in the gag.
and then poetic justice will make it so that Taki will be the one, and then he's gonna like,
Yeah.
yeah. I just like had a
it
feeling.
was like
it was
watching
written
the
in
end of
stars.
Oedipus.
Saw
time,
his
and you're like,
eyes. Like the
please
whole
Yeah.
thing.
stop doing this. Stop
Absolutely.
making
It's
these
a
decisions.
It is a true
tragedy.
tragedy.
Yeah.
I don't think people talk about, you know.
His reaction is like true, like human anguish.
Yeah. I
It's-
mean, give me a fan cam of just Kay realizing that Taki.
There were
will be
girlies on Twitter who
eliminated.
had them. So
That he solidified Taki's fate of going to ground. Now I do think it's very funny that they do act like they have passed
They
away
have-
if they're going to ground.
Because even in the first time when they had to send the first group
Heesung
of
was
six,
like,
and Heesung was literally crying as if they've
Yeah.
been like forced to be drafted to war.
they're being
like,
sent to the
Yes.
incinerator behind the egg.
we don't know
Literally.
what goes
We
on
don't know
there.
what
I mean,
goes
there
on
is a
there.
part of this episode where they see like the people who have never
in
been
the
to
next
ground.
in the next challenge, yeah, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that's,"
and they're like,
ground.
"Oh, that's what it looks like."
They-
I don't know. You all made
There
it
are
seem
some
worse
people.
than that.
There are some people
Who
who
never
never saw what ground looked like.
To note, Taki and Jungwon had the same amount of votes
Yes.
because Taki had a higher individual score.
Yep, so
is why
he-
Jungwon was the one who was going to be. You can't
You
write
can't
this.
write
It's
this
No,
shit.
and that's why it was so good, you guys. I can't express how much trauma, but how much joy I got watching the
Yeah.
show every week.
There was a moment yesterday where because we watched last night, and I turned and looked at RJ, and I was like, "This might be the best show I've ever watched in my life."
Scene. And
And I understand on one hand, it's like it's the like storylines and the entertainment value are they're hitting on all cylinders. On the other hand, the ethical quandary of like putting these people through this, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
I think that every time I listen to a K-pop group, it's like the NFL question where it's like, am I okay with this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Kombucha girl. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Kay
other
uses
person,
the
so if
immunity.
Kay is like losing his mind, you know who's not? Has no reaction whatsoever and it's like, bye. It's Sunoo. Sunoo is like,
it's gonna be
bye.
fine. Bye.
see
Okay.
ya.
she
Close
was
the
off
egg,
to her
toodles.
she was off to her Kiki with Hanbin and the whole
Oh.
gang.
Adam was like, Sunoo would prefer to be in ground.
And
if he got to
Ichan
choose-
was crying
and
because
Ichan
he was
crying
losing
because
Sunoo.
he was losing Sunoo, and that he would have to do all of this without.
Sunoo says as much in a couple episodes. Is like
He
I actually
basically
really
said
like
that
to
much
hear
in the last episode.
Yeah, he was like,
He was like, I don't like
And
it here.
continues
I
to
don't
say
like
it. All of his
Yeah.
girlies are in ground. Like,
Yeah.
why would I want to leave? It's much more.
And
fun over there.
Also, everyone's helping each other
Yes.
in ground.
But
Yes.
also, like, Sunoo that's also part of what this game is like pick your friends.
right.
And if Sunoo had the possibility, he'd be like, yeah, I want to pick my friends. Come
Comes
over here.
Yeah.
Over in ground, they go back to ground, and
You see the
immediately we
girlies.
find out that the 4 that have been chosen by the producers to replace them is Jae, Jake, Kyungmin, and Youngbin.
My faves all made it back in.
The thing that's interesting with ground though is that I don't see their progress, so I don't know. Like even when
Who knows?
who knows?
But
Because
that's
even
the-
when Taeyong and Yunwon went up, I was like, I don't know if they did well.
But that's the producer manipulation part of the show.
Mm.
Every reality show has that one part that is rigged by the production, so
Right.
that
Right.
and
they-
this is their
yeah,
like,
if they
only
need to
opportunity
spice
to do
it up, or if they don't feel like it's going the way they want, they can just be like boop, and they don't. We
But
don't know.
So like sometimes they can be put in for just like either like entertainment value in that way, or even just like I want to see this person just see what they can do with it.
And Bong PD talked about that on episode 1. He was like, he told Rain and Zico, he's like, I don't want you to focus purely on skill or talent. I want you to also focus on the potential in each applicant,
in each
right?
person.
Yeah.
And sometimes that potential was just like X factor. They may not be all there, but they are on their way. And
it's Jake.
Yeah. And it's Jake.
Literally. Yeah, Jake is literally the best example of that, because Jake being one of the applicants that had the least amount of prep before the program.
But like effortlessly charming, and like everyone loves him.
Yep.
Even the audiences and like people in the
Reddit threads and the Twitter feed were all like, Big Hit needs to do something to show transparency with this program. And Big Hit really felt the pressure. And so what they did was later on in the second half of Iland, all the voting was done through Weverse instead of through mnet's website or through a third party. And it was the first time that they had done anything like that on Weverse. Actually, the reason why the Weverse count for enhypen is so high is because they just rolled over all of the Iland voters.
Everyone from Iland.
Yep. And now it's Engine who joined since, plus all of the Iland voters. So they have like 8 million Weavers on their community, and it's just
that's
the
crazy.
show.
But I also think there's like some people refer to rigging as just like editing storylines, and like that's not.
That's their prerogative. That's creative liberty.
Yeah.
Like
there is no such thing as like pure objectivity when you're making reality
Otherwise,
television.
you're watching a live feed. Like you're just watching live feeds.
Oh, that reminds me. You guys were talking about like, do they have cameras on all the time? The answer to that was yes. We ended up getting an answer from Mnet that like, yes, cameras are rolling 24/7, but they would place like an hour loop on the Iland website for people to watch. And it didn't have any audio. It was without audio.
It's like the Boys Planet.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Interesting. Okay. So those are the 4 that go back. Okay, great. Good job. Congratulations. I was very proud of Jay because I thought he did so well as a leader. I thought he was great as center. Yeah. He did so good. I was very proud of him.
My baby.
We're in episode 4, this third test. I was like, we are flying through these.
It was a quick show. When I look back and I'm like, oh my God, there were like less than 14 episodes, I think. And one of them was 12. A special, so.
So it is the representative test. That is what they're calling it. Yeah. So last week was teamwork. This is representative. And it's going to be a 5 versus 5.
5 versus 5.
5 versus 5.
Right.
And by that is
two vocalistas.
Two vocalistas versus 2 vocalistas and 3 danceristas.
3 danceologies. Yeah.
Versus 3 danceologies.
Yeah.
So it'll be like the overall which group won, Iland or Ground. If Iland wins, no change happens. Everybody stays put. If Ground wins, 6 people
move
from Iland, head over to Ground, and then obviously get replaced again.
Yes. And those of us who were real big Ground fans at the time were like rooting for that because we felt like a change needed to happen.
Absolutely.
Well, Rain said after.
Oh, Rain said after
the performance was like, I wish we could just flip all of
the whole thing.
And I was like,
honestly,
would have been
let's do it.
Amazing. It's the only time I've ever agreed with Rain on anything ever. So it's a great idea, Rain. That's the one.
It would have been a great idea.
That's the one.
Truly.
What is the true actual difference of the experience? Because really at the end of the day, what I was saying last week is Iland just has a lot of nice amenities. But they have functionally the same, like they both have practice rooms, they both have ways to practice. They both each get time with mentors.
The same amount of time with mentors. They are training. They're allegedly trying to train themselves. Yeah.
I mean, they have hella amenities in that building. We still don't know all of the rooms that were in that building. There was a rumor going on during the show that they had a recording studio in there too. That the Ground didn't have in their facility. So there were a lot of amenities.
From Iland are going to sing Butterfly by BTS.
What?
Grounders are going to... I mean, we are... If you watched Boys Planet, my recaps, you know my feelings on Butterfly by BTS.
Yes.
And Grounders are going to sing Save Me by BTS.
Both wonderful.
So far, BTS heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This whole entire
Very-
program.
Yeah, not surprising
Not
coming
surprising.
from a show from
It was
Big
a
Hit.
big hit thing.
The dance medley was a bunch of songs that I just didn't feel like writing down because I was like, it's not about the
But they
song,
were
it's about the dances.
Yes,
and blah,
but
blah, blah.
they were like diverse in music. I would say they were.
Right.
I think both like very like street style, funky fresh.
Right.
It's like
Very b-boy music. Like
very b-boy
HOT
heavy.
was in there. I think
Yeah.
Rainism is in one of the groups.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Iland picks their representatives immediately. They find out the challenge and they're like, okay, so
So heesung?
Heesung's gonna be in something.
who's ready?
Heesung's gonna be in something.
Heesung?
So Heesung is immediately on the vocal team for
Yep.
Butterfly, and Gonu is the other.
Gano, yes.
Of course.
Which
The
that's
vocalist of Iland.
because I think we knew that Ichan is a vocalist, so we were like, I think Ichan probably also wants to do it. But I knew that he would probably be like, I don't want that pressure. So I do like that later on they agree that everyone like becomes an understudy for someone, so
Right.
that way like you can still practice.
It's a great idea.
Right.
because that's the biggest thing. What are you gonna do for a week?
Just
Oh, bitch, I would have slept.
I would have
Listen,
slept
some of
and
them-
be like, girl,
I would have been in
let me
that.
know
I've
how
been in
you
that
do.
cooler with those coffees,
Yeah.
and then I would have been sleeping.
some of
I've been
them.
grabbing one of those iPads and turning on Weverse.
And
I think a lot. I think there were some who did secretly sleep a lot. So
Good. Because I
Yeah.
mean, even when they were like practicing later, like Jake looked so happy to not be in the pressure.
right.
and then the dance team consists of J, K, not Jungkook, J, comma K, and Jungwon.
We had an episode
Yes.
called J, and then like in parentheses we put KE, and then we put K. So Jake K was one of our
Oh,
episodes.
funny.
There were way too many J names in this program.
If you notice, all 5 of those people are original Islanders. I just wanted to point that out.
There's a moments like
Um,
that in the program too.
And it feels like I think the only really one that was apparent was Sung Hoon. Felt like he was like,
He was
I
like
wanted
left
to
out.
raise
I
my
really wanted
hand,
to do
but
something, but yeah.
meanwhile at Ground, I'm now on page 2. By the way, meanwhile in Ground, J Ho. So because part of the dance challenge or whatever is they have to come up with original choreography.
Right.
J Ho immediately is like, listen, my major
Right.
is choreography. I am that
This
girl
is my-
that you all
This
wish you
Yes.
were.
Is my
This
lane.
is my gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are like, okay,
Slay.
great. We love that.
Take it.
So, because originally when they first found out it's 3, they were like, oh, Nikki, who do they say? Nikki, Nicholas, and Taki.
one, yeah.
Taki.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, Taki should be the third one.
Yeah.
So now
Because
they're
it's
like,
locking. Because it's
Yeah.
locking.
Then J-Hope
Because it was locking.
campaigned.
And then Jeho was like,
and then
I also
yeah.
know a little bit of locking. I actually studied locking. I do have my transcripts for my locking
Yeah.
class.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if anyone is
Came with
interested,
receipts. Like
absolutely.
yes.
Because there was the thing that I think Taeyong was like, well, yeah, it would be great if you choreographed. And then he was like,
What
okay,
if I
but if I'm
danced it?"
doing that, I want to be in it too.
Right.
Yeah, they were fully like, so
Yeah, and
you'll
you'll be
choreograph
PD,
it.
absolutely.
And then right before, they'll just swap you out for the actual good dancer. And he was like,
No.
no,
No.
that's not going to be happening.
Yeah. You're
So the representatives picked for Ground. Vocal is Sunoo and Sungchul.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, they were like, but also we'll see again in the morning
We'll
how
see
we
again
feel about
how I
this.
feel. They were very much like, okay, who can sing high? And they just picked everyone.
And
very
dance
high
team
school
was,
like choir class. It was like
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Nicholas, Nikki, and J-Ho officially are the 3.
Yeah.
Okay, back in Iland. Heesung comes up with the understudy program, which we just like briefly mentioned. And I think
Yes, the Heesung commemorative
method, yeah.
understudy program of Iland. Yeah, absolutely.
yes, it was where I got my scholarship to college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, it sounds like a great program. Better than Tish, you know?
I think Heesung is a good teacher, even though I think that like he had that trouble with the second up. I don't know if that was necessarily his fault.
He's
'cause I think he
meticulous.
was like teaching it well.
He's meticulous.
Yes.
That's all it is. And They were haters for it.
Niki is not a good teacher.
Niki's not a
Niki
great
should not
teacher.
be teaching.
Mm-mm.
And that's not everybody's skill set,
No,
to be fair.
it's a completely.
Just because you're a good dancer does not mean you are good at like teaching dance.
When you are a master, it is hard to be a teacher because
Absolutely.
your skill level outmatches everybody else's, so nobody will be able to keep up with you. So yeah, Niki wasn't a good teacher because Niki got the choreography before everybody was done. That's just the way it was.
Yeah. Niki is once again. We're sitting at the table.
We're sitting at
ground.
their like long ass dinner table.
Yeah.
Right. Eating their little bento boxes because it's always a packed lunch every day. Every time we see them eating, it's always a packed bento.
Yeah, it's
I'm sure
wonderful.
the producers were like, staff were just like, just buy another 12.
Stupid.
Just the same thing.
Somebody's business really
Niki-
flourished.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So Niki is like.
He's literally like this.
Yep. So pissed.
Hanbin, do you know the dance? Okay, well, I think you should change. And Hanbin literally is like, no.
Girl, I don't know. Girl, I haven't been paying
Girl,
attention.
I don't know the dance.
And I was confused at first why he chose Hanbin, and then I remembered because they were the ones who like came in the unit together.
And it was with Nicholas, so it would have been just like easy, like we already know. We could already be in sync together.
Yeah.
But it's
Gets
like
what
a
Niki
day
wants.
before the mid test or whatever.
But Niki gets what Niki wants. Niki's got
I know.
he's got
it's crazy.
leadership, power, currency in ground.
Yes.
Yes.
He does. He
Everybody
does.
listens to him.
Yes.
He didn't even have a good explanation as to why J-Ho shouldn't be the third one.
Nope. Just
No.
my friends are my friends, and that's what I want.
He wanted an easy way into the synchronicity and the chemistry.
Oh,
Just like
sure.
he sung with
Yeah.
everyone just focus on themselves to get like the highest score.
Yeah.
He wanted like, they're seeing the game and they're understanding like trying to make moves to beat
Yeah.
the game.
Hanbin's not
but
going
it's
to put up a
missing
fight.
out. Yeah.
We are pulling the keys out of the locks, and Julie Chen Moonves is calling out names. He knows that he can count on Hanbin for that vote.
Not Moonves.
One vote
Not
for-
Moonves.
Yes.
Hanbin.
And we know, like, in the end, that's how it's going to go. But I think that Niki completely overestimated how
Yeah.
quickly Hanbin was going to pick up the choreography, because we can tell through the episode that it didn't go well at all.
No.
Zico was like,
No.
what is going on?
What is going on?
Yeah. Like,
Because
Yeah.
it's not even just like choreo. It's like
Everything.
B-boy choreo.
Everything.
It's everything. Because even the way they were like doing it, Zico's big thing was like J-Ho feels the song more. Like he knows the vibe of the song and
Right.
is moving in the same way.
And there was no
It's not
unity.
just-
There was no unity in the
Yeah.
performance. Watching it back, having Nico and Niki doing the same choreo did not look the same together. It was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
askew. So
which is interesting because like Nicholas is like a street dancer.
yeah,
Or like this was when I was like, oh, that's his gig.
he's a b-boy.
But he's a b-boy, but he does like his big flaw in the show so far has been choreography. Like him and Youngbin like are always in sync. Are not in sync.
Alanis Morissette.
Rain comes to Iland for a little check-in.
Yes, he does.
Rain's mentorship and coaching is like the type of coaching that I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
It's that like I'm giving you tough love, but we're like, call me older brother, blah 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 blah. But you suck. And it's like it's very
Very coach.
Where are the boundaries?
It's
Very
giving
varsity
very
coach.
Yes, that
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like if I was a trainee, I would be so annoyed and would just like stew as soon as I'm done because I'm like, just tell me what I need to do.
This
I
guy.
don't need the theatrics. I would much rather just get the constructive feedback.
Was it?
I think Zico is way better at handling
Zico
like, how
is
he gives
so
out.
So
much
much
better.
better.
And it's kind of crazy who succeeds in having a
boy
a good
band.
group.
Ugh. Boy next door. And there was a lot of very particular comments towards the Islanders dancing, which was weird because I thought that they did
Yes.
fantastic.
he loved. I mean, Rain thought heesung and Gonu were great.
Oh yeah,
He was like, no notes.
Yeah.
Which is
I
funny.
was like,
we preferred.
the
I
girl.
had notes.
We
I had notes.
No, we preferred the understudies.
Oh,
a little
you
bit.
mean Seon?
I preferred.
Yeah,
Not San. We preferred Ichan for sure.
I mean,
Because I know
yeah.
that their biggest thing was like he's over emoting, or like for both of them.
Yeah.
And Rain was like, "Oh yeah, I totally get it."
Sure.
But I was like, Ichan sounds so good. Like
Ichan
this,
just has a perfect pop voice, especially for
it's
Butterfly.
such a
Especially
nice
for
voice, and I wish that he'd get over himself
I know.
because it's what bit him in the ass for Boys Planet. So
But I kind of am feeling like he's the surrogate for me. Like he's reacting to the same way that I would in those
Right.
situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
He gives very much like person who's always been told. Did we say this?
Yeah,
I said it on in episode
Okay,
2.
I was
that
like, wait,
because
I literally just watched it
he
last night. So
Yes, very gifted program, and then as soon as you put him in like the real world,
the mainstream,
it's
it's
like,
like, oop.
oh,
nobody told me
I
about
see.
this. Oops.
it's
Yeah.
detracting from what he actually is really good at, and he like instead of like leading with that,
Yep.
he's always
Okay.
like hiding it and would rather just kind of like, yeah, that's sad.
Sometimes you do that to ourselves.
Yeah. Inner saboteurs. You know, we
Yes.
all have them.
What would you say to young
young-
Ichan?
I keep trying to write his. What is his
J-Bomb.
J-Bomb?
Jibum.
That is his name on
That is his
this
name.
show. And then on Boys Planet, it's a fully different name. And I'm like, pick a damn name.
It's so stupid, but it's idol culture.
Ray or Zico came and then they were like, J-Ho is better than Hanbin. They make them do the
They
thing
make it do
together.
together.
It was so cringy. I was like,
He was
Ugh.
really-
ooh.
I felt so bad for
I
him.
felt
'cause
the only I felt
you
bad
could tell
for
that
him.
Hanbin was like, I haven't had enough time for
Yes.
this.
Girl said as much in her DR. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. I told Nikki that I wasn't ready, but you know what? This bitch, French
And then
forever.
in vocals,
Yeah.
Vocalistas,
Mhm.
Miss Sungchul choked up. Okay, she was like,
Sunoo sounded great.
Sunny sounded great.
I need to lead with that.
Uh,
Okay.
There's no debating that.
And Sungchul, I think, was very nervous.
Very nervous.
to sing for Zico, which is fair.
Yes.
And it probably got the better of him.
Yeah.
And I guess Daniel had been sick, but like was now feeling better.
Yes, because
Working-
when he auditioned, he was like, "Oh, I can't."
He was
reach
so
high
sick.
notes."
And you know what? He was working so hard on the lyrics.
Oh,
They do that little story portion about like his little piece of
Yeah.
paper, and he was translating, doing the international phonetic alphabet. You know, we're going
Yeah.
through, we're marking our pronunciation.
Yes, he is giving the schwas,
Yeah, the schwa.
everything.
Just a little bit of a
Yes.
swap. And so
Uh-huh.
he was prepping, honey, and he was just going through,
Yes.
and he's like, I think I might be ready.
You know, he was like, "Okay, what's the emotion here? What am I fighting for in this line?" You know?
he's so sweet.
Can I just say,
And he's the youngest, right?
Yeah.
yeah, can I just say, Daniel, wherever you are, honey, debut soon, please.
So Daniel was supposed to be. Was he in that trainee A group that Hybe was like?
No.
No, he was
Daniel-
not in that. Okay.
Daniel has not been heard from since Iland. And
Maybe he's like, what if he's just like, you know what? Let me
no,
finish
he's
school.
still going to Hanlin. He's still going to Hanlin.
Oh.
They're
okay.
thinking, and this is totally off topic, but like they think that Daniel might be part of the new Pledis group that's going to be debuting.
yes.
Yep. So
Because there's a couple boys. I think there's a boys
God, I
band
hope
name in
so.
there too.
I've been waiting for his debut out of everybody the longest.
There's this really cute moment of Kyungmin being like, I'm just here to make sure everyone feels supported. I am going to be giving snacks. I'm going to make sure everyone's water is refilled.
He's an assistant.
He is
Kyungmin.
like fully the best intern because he fully was like, I get to come on Iland and I don't have to perform. Slay.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Chungmin is me, I am her. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
interchangeable.
The way he was like, "Oh, Jay, like, do you need something? Do you need a snack?" I was like, "Yes, girl.
Mhm.
This is me." Sunghoon was feeling a little bit left out. And I think like the understudy program really helped him kind of like, okay, I'm still kind of developing something if something were to happen. And there was like very cute moments of him, EJ, and Jake like doing the dance together.
Yeah, the O2s.
Yes.
And just
the O2s. That was the.
and they were like, yes, we're all O2s.
Yeah.
And it was truly the first time that anyone looked relaxed in this damn show.
Right.
Like when they were like dancing and then like just laid on the practice floor,
Yep.
I was like, this I
God.
want to watch this
So
show.
you're telling me that they are still teenagers and they're still having fun? Okay, that's
Yes. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That they can still be kids. Okay,
it's more like
cool.
camp now. Okay, great.
Yes, it definitely felt.
Oh,
camp.
very camp
This was
vibes.
very
Yeah.
camp.
Theater camp.
Yep.
Theater camp, absolutely.
We've had a bit of a roster shakeup for Iland. Heesung, Gonu still, but we now have
They flipped my boy Jay
Jay-
out.
Sunghoon.
Sunghoon
Yep.
instead of Jay.
Yep.
Yes, Jake.
No,
No, no.
Sunghoon.
Jay.
Sunghoon replaced Jay.
Jay.
Jay, yes.
So the lineup is, as I have now said 3 times, Sunghoon, Jake.
No, K.
My God, I'm a mess. Okay, so Sunghoon has replaced Jay.
Which, when they were voting first who was going to do what in the very beginning, Jay was like, I don't know, I'm not going to keep my hopes up. I have a feeling I'm going to get replaced at some point.
Yep.
Which we've already said, they are fulfilling their own prophecy.
Yes,
Yes.
they quit manifesting so hard. Just like
Yes,
things
stop.
happen.
Stop talking.
Stop talking.
Not
God.
against
Stop
yourself.
Everybody's Cassandra. They're deciding their own fates. Good Lord. So Sunghoon, Jungwon, and K.
Yes.
Yes.
For Grounders, it is now officially Sunoo and Daniel. And then Jae-ho is back.
Yes. And it's the only time she's heard from in this entire series.
Yeah, I kind of
little
I feel
little
that.
foreshadow.
And everyone was like, Nicholas looks like he's about to destroy everything. in
Yes,
this."
mask.
He
energy.
looked so mad. But it
so
was
Friday Night Lights, where it's like tough
Game
game
phase.
Game
time,
face.
game face.
Yeah.
So true.
So Heesung and Gonu go first to
Vocalistas
perform
go, yeah.
Butterfly.
It's It's one of my favorite BTS songs.
It's so
Top five.
incredible. It's so soft. It's so lovely. It's so
Really, not War of Hormones?
I mean,
Sneakers high?
Converse high.
Converse high.
You are not a
You're-
BTS fan. You are a liar.
Put my sneakers on Converse high.
oh my god.
Girl, put my sneakers on. This performance is so good. I do think Heesung does a little bit better than Gonu, but he also gets the belting part.
He does.
Exactly.
which
He got
sounds
the better one.
So good.
But I
Yeah.
think that's the point, because Ganu, I think, has like a higher register, or like he just sings a lot, I think, more
The timbre's
matched to like what
different.
they're actually
Yeah.
they were doing.
But they were both really good, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's so nice seeing really good people do their craft really,
Yes.
really well.
Which
We love
and
to
that's
celebrate.
Whenever survival shows do it where they strip down to super few
Super just-
people,
yeah.
it's so nice because you get to spend so much more time
Totally.
seeing their talents, other than like
Right.
Fire with 12 people is very hard to ascertain who is doing well and who is
Not
just
with
like
7 with BTS, so
yes,
double
yes,
that almost and call it good.
exactly. So they do really well, and then Sunoo and Daniel do Save Me. And Sunoo, first of all, I want to say before we start, Sunoo does wonderfully. Daniel eats this the
Daniel
fuck
The
ate
up.
fuck up.
this song. He ate it up. He made us like it.
Nope,
Pills.
not a single
There was
crumb.
there was such a like ease with him that
Yes.
even from like the way he was holding the microphone, that I was like, you could tell me that this kid has been doing this like all of his life, and I
Right.
don't believe you. Like, he just looked like he was a natural up there.
Right.
The audience has now started to believe the like Iland is inherently better than ground.
Yep.
I was like getting nervous when they were going up because I was like, please don't be bad. Please don't
Well,
be
no,
bad.
and that
Please
was the
don't be
thing.
bad."
Oh God, you're bringing up so many old things. If this whole podcast has brought up so many old emotions, because I was such a staunch grounder by this point, and I was
Yeah.
like, I just want my gals to do well, and
Yeah.
I want them to see the success that all of these other like maybe more macho guys are getting in Iland, and so when I saw that performance succeed so much further than I expected, it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
And the
Save Me, also an incredible song.
The dichotomy between Sunoo and Daniel.
Totally.
Daniel's taller, Sunoo's shorter, but when they both extend when they're dancing, and I'm being so technical,
I know.
but when they extend together, you can't tell the height difference because they're so symmetrical, and their voices were very complimentary. Yes, I just want to wrap that performance up in a bow and mail it to my mom for Christmas because that's how good it is.
It was so good.
Yes.
It's so good.
I'll never shut up about it.
And then that's where the fucking
and then the episode ends there.
And I was like, fuck off.
Mnet editing.
I thought this was a wonderful episode.
Yeah.
I like because there's only 23 of them. I like that I feel like I do know them really well.
You get to know. Yeah. We tried to do an equal breakdown for all 23 every episode. It is difficult when you have a bias.
That's tough.
That's so hard.
Oh God. But that was the way that it was. And we were the only podcast at the time to be covering, which I thought was crazy. I'm like, oh, we need to like do this justice because people are listening. And we were pulling in people from like 100 and something countries. And I was like, okay, let's work really hard.
That's the thing with these survival shows. Like the girls are hungry.
You had one episode a week?
One episode, we tried to do one episode a week during the program. Mm-hmm. And after that, I think we went to like bi-weekly and then we disappeared. So sorry, fans that might be watching.
It's okay. One day the Boys Love podcast will also just disappear into the ether, and you'll never see us again.
The rest of the Ampliverse.
We'll be
you'll find us in a bar in Itaewon with our Patreon money.
Yes. We're like, thanks to your Patreon, we've moved to Seoul.
Because like in all the other survival shows we've ever watched, we always do
do your lineup. Yeah.
Do the lineup, but famously in Iland, no one had any idea how many people were going to be in this group.
Yep.
You know, there's going to be a group.
Totally like BTS music video dissect stuff. Like they were like, oh, well, the Iland poster has like 8 eggs. So maybe there's 8 members or like, Iland has 5 letters in the name. So maybe it's just 5. I'm like, girl, it's not that serious. Like we're not.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring out names. Like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I've asked each of you to prepare your top 6 with the caveat that 3 have to be at the end of episode 4. 3 have to be Islanders and 3 have to be Grounders.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna let you guys go.
I'm gonna let RJ go first.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm gonna start from the ground up.
Oh, funny.
So for ground, at the time of this day, episode 4, I'm gonna pick Sunoo.
This is okay.
Daniel.
It's actually I actually think it might be harder to pick Grounders than it is to pick Islanders.
Now we know what the judges were going through, or the producers. It was like,
yeah.
I'll pick Hanbin because I do think that he needs an opportunity in Iland. But we're just picking our lineup anyway. So I'm gonna pick Hanbin. I think just there is a reason why obviously Niki wanted him to be not just for like the easy. I think he kind of sees like he probably sees Hanbin as a better dancer.
Yeah.
At some point. So I think that's my 3 from ground, and then my 3 from Iland. Oof, it's tough. K. Gonu, my beloved, who's my PO1.
Oh my gosh.
And
while RJ's thinking, what was the general take on Gonu?
Gonu, I mean, everybody liked him from the Signal song because he was the main vocal on that.
Yeah.
And he was beloved throughout the entire program.
was curious.
and then you can watch the rest.
I'm super nervous about K because I've already seen people like when we debuted the first episode and they were like, "Oh my god, the K drama," and I was like,
What drama?
What happened with Ketamine? What happened with her?
We can talk about it when that comes up, whether I give you some information or whatever, but like it was so bad that it might have cost him getting into enhypen.
Getting in the group. Crazy.
Because it was during voting time. I literally did not vote for K because of the drama. I know.
Spill.
And K was
okay, so it wasn't this Taki situation, which I was at first like,
because I was
no.
like, this
weird.
can't be
It
the
was
drama.
so much worse.
Okay.
Anyway.
And I will pick. You know, I'm gonna pick.
Oh, girl, the struggles.
I know. I'm gonna pick Sunghoon
Okay.
because I think there was a moment. I would say has been the most consistent so far and like level-headed.
Yep.
And this was the first time that I think
it
he
doesn't
felt
feel like the show is getting to him.
the show is not getting to him. This was the first time that something got to him because he wasn't chosen because there's only so few spots that he's like, oh, I'm not in like the top 5 essentially.
I tell you what, though, I think that the level-headedness comes from the pre-Olympic path. For
Absolutely.
He had the mental stamina.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, even for the first 2 tests, like the way that Heesung was like bawling his eyes out, and then like Sunghoon being like, "Girl, this is part."
Calm down.
I think there was a joke in the first episode when they were introducing everybody, and like half of them were like athletes to some degree, and I think that did help them on this show because there is a mental.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some stamina.
You are.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like running a marathon.
Which is so funny. We called it out.
I can't.
Adam was like,
that was so stupid.
"Kay, he's called himself a marathoner, but he's not running marathons." Kay literally won a marathon.
And then
Just
won a marathon,
literally
that weekend.
this week.
and I was like, "Cool."
Cool.
When I
Fuck
saw
my
that, I
drag.
thought of Adam immediately. I was like, girl's gonna be that crow.
Oh, Mama's still running, girl.
She's
She's
gonna
still
eat
getting
that
those
crow.
trophies.
She won.
She won.
She didn't just run the marathon.
No, one.
Who wins marathon?
K, motherfucking
Hey,
K.
girl.
I'll start with Iland. I think I would pick K. I do think I think Heesung is so good in the vocals that I would
totally.
pick Heesung.
Totally.
Mm.
And I would probably pick Gonu. Would be the 3 that I would pick.
You guys are putting
And
such
then-
hard parameters on it. Like, honestly, it was really difficult for me to pick.
But Jay is fuck. This is real. It's so hard.
It's tough.
But it's hard to not be like, because I was originally I was like Jungwon, but then I was like, I don't know if at this point in the show if I would be like I've seen
oh, I'm
enough
Team
of Jungwon to know that
Absolutely.
he's in my, you know what I mean?
I just think that it's amazing that somebody is struggling to pick Iland members in the year of our Lord 2023, because I never thought that I'd talk about Iland ever again.
Ever
That would be the
again.
weird,
It's so
shameful-
much fun.
It is.
It's because if you like, I didn't think I would have this problem either. I was worried that it was gonna be like almost too clear who was
Same.
like all the 7 who end up in the
I
group
know
are like
when you
way
guys
better than
started,
everybody else.
you were like, oh well, we know who the members are going to be, so it's not going to be as fun. No, the drama,
No.
the journey
Yeah.
is really where it's at.
Yeah. And there's so much talent. I mean, there
Yeah,
really is a
yeah.
huge. It's very clear in the amount of people that have debuted in other groups too.
Yeah,
Totally.
So okay. So for my grounders, I'm obviously picking Sunoo. I'm not stupid. I would probably pick. Oh, it's hard.
it is.
I'm curious if I would have been swayed by the like Niki's villain arc. If I would be like,
I
because
was.
he is objectively so good.
I was.
Nate's like,
I'm not afraid.
I was susceptible. I'm not
I was
afraid to say it.
susceptible. I did not hop onto the Niki train until part 2 of Iland, and I was.
So I don't think I would pick him, but I also would have been like, oh, Hanbin didn't do great, so I don't think I would have picked Hanbin either.
You really wanted Niki to fail, honestly. I swear to God. because like that villain story that they wrote at the beginning where he was like, Taki, I was like, bitch, no. How could you do that to your friend? That is so backstabby. And I'm like the most loyal of friends.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
frustrated and angry until like part 2 when I was like, okay, boy can dance. So
It is crazy.
Oh,
'cause
it's Taki. I would pick Taki.
Taki.
truly the whole Nikki thing for me is I think if I was watching it live, I would
And
have been,
Daniel. I'll pick Daniel too.
if I was watching it live, I would have been like, Nikki's a dancer. He is thinking about this like he's in a conservatory, like he is in a, you know what I mean? Like he's thinking about this like this is like
We say this
ballet.
almost every fucking show. Dancers are a different breed of fucking
Yes.
people. They are psycho.
Psycho.
But we love them.
We love them.
Like mentally just like
But,
sharp,
like-
but it's like it's cutthroat.
How could you not?
And I just-
because there's precision in
There's
a way
this-
that there can't be with like singing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the artistry to the max. And they have a
Yes.
whole different brain.
It's like
Yep.
it really is like a respect thing because it's like I would be exhausted every day if I had to like think about all of that and take care of my body.
yeah.
Like that's so much.
And
Yeah.
a little bit of foreshadowing. This program doesn't really address a ton of vocal stuff.
Oh, I mean,
And
I
there
can
was a
tell
huge
that.
complaint from the fans. It was like, why do we never see them sitting with like a vocal coach?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just don't. So,
Yeah.
but they did. I mean, behind the scenes, they just didn't.
Of
focus on
course.
stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't as, behind the scenes as Boys Planet was. They
Mhm.
very much wanted to keep that that separation between you and the production aspects, where it was like,
Mhm.
this is very much Hunger Games cornucopia. We're not trying to tell you about all the stuff that happens in the forest. So for my picks, for ground, I chose Sunoo. I'm not stupid either.
Wow, look at you.
Uh,
Growth.
A different man than 3 years ago.
yeah, I wouldn't have chosen Sunoo back in the day. I choose Sunoo this time out of justice. Daniel, because he's my baby boy and I love him so much.
Mhm.
And I choose Niki this time too, which I wouldn't have done back in the day either.
This is such a good episode for Daniel.
Yes, Daniel arc
Truly.
success.
Yeah.
For Iland, I'm gonna be a little bit selfish. I'm gonna choose Jay. Who's my bias. Girl, listen, just like the Lord herself, you will never catch me denying Jay ever in my life. You could hold a gun to my head and be like, hey. I'd be like, no.
I have a feeling they're gonna address it in the next episode why Sung-hoon swapped Jay out. But like when they do the test, Jay is so good. The only thing that happens is that Jay doesn't get a specific compliment directed to him.
Yeah.
Jungwon gets one and Kay gets one.
You're predicting
And then they're
stuff.
just
You're
like-
predicting you're getting too good at this, Adam. Because they will address it. It's a whole 30-minute backtrack. But
Oh, great.
you'll see all of
Can't wait.
it wasn't drama, but you'll see all of what happened. And
The makings
Yeah.
of it.
And Jay was totally fine with it. He's like, whatever, I guess so. I don't care. I'm gonna pick Jake.
Yeah.
I loved his potential throughout the entire show.
Yeah.
He's still my bias record in enhypen. And then I'm going to choose Jungwon.
It's a good lineup. In
stable.
fact, I think a lot of people like those 3 people.
Yeah. Jungwon later on in the show gets called the hidden ace. So
I mean, I believe that. He's definitely the most consistent and has adapted to each challenge really well.
yeah, pay attention to the scores going forward for everybody, because you'll start seeing patterns of like growth, and you'll see where the producer's mindset starts going. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, this person's score has been going up every week. So you'll start to see.
I mean, that was the cool part about, at least from after the second challenge, was they said that. They were like, I know we have to lose 4 people, but these are great scores.
Yeah.
Like, we've all improved.
Yes,
Yeah.
they commented multiple times in this episode about that. It was like everybody's above a 50, which to them was
Yeah.
a big win.
It's a
It's a
good episode of television, period.
Yeah.
You now know why I chose episode 4. I was like, I have to talk about this. And I'll never get over Hey Talkie drama ever.
Ah,
You're
It
into my
is
mind.
so
it's so good.
And there's more to
it's-
come. It's not even one of the most dramatic cries on the show.
Crazy.
There's been crying in every episode, and I love that I don't think Sunoo has cried at all yet on the show.
It will continue.
Perfect. Love that for us.
It's worth
Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
It was a
this has
joy.
been
for
awesome.
joining us.
I love
This
your
is
guys'
so-
podcast. It's
Oh, thank
Aw.
you.
a joy to listen to every week. I'm sure that all of your listeners agree. Thank you for having me. Listeners, if you want to put any comments below about how you felt about me today, just leave them dirty comments.
We have very nice comments on YouTube.
Yes, you do. I
actually.
love reading the
Not-
comment section.
Not toward necessarily the people on the show always.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh,
it's never
yeah.
directed at us. So thank you so much for joining us. Anything you want to plug?
No, I don't have any.
No, support teachers.
Support
Please
unions,
support
maybe?
teachers.
Yes,
Teachers
please
unions?
support teachers unions. Absolutely.
We are under persecution more than any other time in modern history. Books are
Truly.
being banned. Children's identities are being banned. And so, stick up for your kiddos. If you have
Yes.
Yeah.
a BIPOC or an LGBTQIA plus student who needs you, be there for them. Yeah.
Support your local teachers. Support our local wish list.
Support enhypen.
Support enhypen.
Come on. They're on tour.
Thank.
Oh, Iland
are
got
on tour.
81, by the way. I did not say that, but Iland got 81.
Yes.
The vocal performance.
Vocalistas.
Crying
Sorry.
things I want to know.
That is the exact minute that it cut.
Yep.
It was 81.
Yep.
Cool.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.